All right, we're back. Time for After the Beat. Luke Thomas, Danny Segura, Mike Chiappetta, and at the end, the man in the hat, that is Chuck Mindenhall. As I mentioned, we have taken your tweets using the hashtag #TheMMABeat. We appreciate all of them, and we are going to answer them now. Boys, I have good news for you. They're all terrible.
All right.
So here we go. No, I'm teasing. They're good.
I just said we appreciate them.
Mike, once again, you will go first. Should fighters in divisions with less popular champions be concerned that their division can suddenly be on the chopping block?
Less popular champions. Well, I don't think so. I mean, when you look at the way the UFC constructs their calendar, everything centers around putting championship fights in main events. And from the looks of what the calendar is going to be next year with this new ESPN contract and pay-per-view schedule, it seems like we're going to have about the same number of events going forward in 2019. So we're going to need champions. And so you can't be getting rid of multiple weight classes when you have to fill these cards. So I don't see any change.
Can you imagine just because Woodley is not the most popular champion? No more welterweight. We're going to phase that thing out.
Is it possible that they do this thing where, like, if Henry Cejudo wins or TJ Dillashaw wins, that they keep the 125 belt and just have one-off fights with it the same way because Chris Cyborg 145 division exists?
They'll dissolve it probably. Yeah. I mean, unless there's some kind of...
I'm saying they could if they want to keep this belt.
I don't think the question was asked quite right. It was like less popular champ. Everyone's pinning this on Demetrius. Show me the other flyweight.
No, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think that the bigger problem here is I don't really believe Dana White was ever really, truly behind. We talked about this before, but I don't think he was ever truly behind the 125-pound division, to be honest. I mean, and, you know, it feels like they never quite knew what to do with it. And we're just at a point where they're like, what they want to get out of their fighters has changed. Maybe the model has changed enough where they could basically do it. I also think that at some point we're looking at 165-pound division. I know that you talked to a matchmaker, right, at some point or something where they were like, we can't introduce a new weight class. There's too many weight classes at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, there's all those factors in play, but ultimately, I'm like, I just don't feel like Dana White was ever. I don't feel like the UFC was ever really behind flyweight.
Yeah, I think this was a special case for the flyweight division, and I also think if the UFC is going to do any trimming of divisions, it's going to be at the end. I don't think there's going to be a hole in the middle, like it's just going to go from 155 to 185. So that's why the flyweight division was a special case, and they're never going to cut the heavyweights. So.
And bantamweight is too rich. I mean, they've got too many guys that are just so good that, I mean, it's not going to happen there. I think that the only one that we'd probably consider at this point, other than maybe women's featherweight or something like that, would be that division.
And when they got rid of lightweight, to your point, Danny, back in whatever year that was, I can't even remember, 2007, whatever it was. Before that,
2004.
Was it 4? It was the after the Thompson Eves Edwards fight. I can't remember when that was anymore. Whatever. That was also at the time the lowest weight class. So they're not like skipping spots in the middle. Yeah. But I will say, if you have a whole weight class of people that they feel like they can't promote, whether they should be able to, you never know.
Yeah.
Next. Okay, Danny, would you rather have the Brock Lesnar sword tattoo on your chest or have the damage? By the way, it's the MMA Beat hashtag, not MMA Beat, but we appreciate the question just the same.
Jesus.
What would you rather have?
Do the combo platter, baby.
I mean, at that point, you just got to get both, right? I don't know. I think I'll go with the damage.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Really?
Sword.
Yeah, the sword doesn't really look much of a sword.
The sword, too, is harder to hide. Like, if you have your shirt open, you got some weird stuff peeking out.
Yeah.
So the damage, you can hide that at least.
We're sitting here embracing the damage. I think I'd have to go with the sword. I mean, the damage. Can you imagine? I guess either one of the...
He did say you have to get it in the same exact spot, right?
Oh, no, that was That was
it was sort of implied, but to your point, on technicality, you're right, he didn't specify.
There you go. If I can get them anywhere, I'm getting both.
Does anybody else here have tattoos?
I don't.
No?
I do.
You do? I'm getting another one on Saturday. I'm finally going to get a tattoo on my forearm. Can you believe that? I'm 39. I'm reasonably financially stable. Societal standards have changed. I would be covered right now if it wasn't for that.
You're saying you'd be like Lil Peep with tattoos all over your face.
Yeah, I'll be like Tekashi 6ix9ine. But like, how much more
could from Saw right here, like Tekashi?
Yeah, like how much more disappointed could my father be in me? Probably not anymore. So like at this point, I've exhausted his disappointment. F it, time to get some tattoos. All right, next.
Get the damage.
Get the damage. All right, let's see, Chuck. When one announces it's when one announces, let's say, their U.S. television deal, which is highly rumored, do you see them potentially taking the number 2 spot behind UFC, or do you think there's already too much saturation with UFC, Bellator, PFL, LFA, etc.?
I mean, it is fairly saturated, but I honestly think that right now Bellator is entrenched. I know that that one is bringing in some compelling guys. I think that individual fights will see them, but they don't have more names than Bellator, and Bellator has more North American events, obviously. I don't know if one has plans to come over here and do some events, kind of like Pride did at, 33?
Yeah.
And a couple of those.
That went well.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Well, it was a good event.
Yeah, the event was cool, but I mean, I don't really think that. I think that it's because it's an Asian-based, Singapore-based promotion, and they do most of their stuff overseas. It's just that's still the big factor. They have weird hours over here, everything else. So I still think Bellator is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if they're going to run most of their business overseas and just come here once in a while, it's going to be hard to unseat Bellator just because we're just used to what we see in front of us all the time. I mean, that's just human nature.
I think certain events could probably do better than Bellator's, and maybe even the UFC, especially if you get guys like Eddie Alvarez there, Demetrius Johnson.
Depends where their TV deal goes too.
Yeah, that too.
The deal is just DAZN. It's great for DAZN customers, but that doesn't mean anything for the North American market per se. I have to say this. Here's the one thing that's like MMA fans get confused about. It's like, first of all, there's no way they'll unseat Bellator. Not anytime soon. It would take a Herculean effort. Forget UFC. It would take a Herculean effort to unseat Bellator. Their whole product is designed around Asian sensibilities, Asian gym recruitment, and it's maybe good for those markets. It doesn't mean F all here. And you can sign Demetrius, and you can sign Eddie Alvarez. These are phenomenal fighters, but that's not going to change. Even if you have them both in the same card, it's not. This is not going to do anything. So I hope they get on DAZN because that would be good as a DAZN customer. I would prefer to see it. But my point is, a lot of MMA fans are like, oh, one had a nice week of publicity, and now all of a sudden people think, wow, they might be doing something. They are so far from doing anything in this market, it's not even funny. Like they're not even remotely an entity at all. Here's how you know. Turn on your local sports station on the radio and wait until you hear anything MMA related. Guarantee you it's probably not going to be Bellator, and if it was going to be when Kimbo was around. And that was it. You might hear UFC once on the week. You might. Right. Now just look at the pecking order where they are. They're not even in the solar system as far as I'm concerned in terms of sports entities here, even as MMA related ones.
Yeah, but they got Misha Tate on board now, so
look, they're doing good things in their market. I'm not here to diminish them as an entity generally.
I agree with you 100%.
But like their footprint here, it might as well be non-existent.
Yeah.
I just want to congratulate you the way DAZN comes off your tongue.
Yeah, now it does.
You were not an early adopter.
Danny do it.
You know what's amazing about DAZN? It's like, hold on, let's take a step.
Tell me, Luke.
Hold on. It's amazing. They've got Anthony Joshua in their ranks. They had Usyk, that fight they had last week. They've got Canelo in their ranks. Combate Americas, Bellator. They're going to have KSW. I'm sure I'm not even mentioning half the shows. They have like 5 properties now.
Road FC, I think they picked
Road FC they have, right? So they're slowly beginning to do a bunch of amazing things.
Yeah.
They're, as a boxing fan, I would pay for DAZN just on what they have. Forget all the extra MMA stuff, and like they're going to be adding more and more and more. It's like, wow, what a great company, dude. They do great media outreach. It's amazing.
Yep, they do.
It's like you just have the world's dumbest name. I don't know what to tell you. And I heard apparently someone told me that I guess one of the DAZN reps was either here or at SiriusXM, and they're like, yeah, we picked that name intentionally to get attention. It's like, dude, I could name your company like Pedophile Creeps Incorporated. People are like, that's the name of your television company? It would get attention. It's still a terrible name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, we're talking about it right now, so.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we've been talking about it.
No, like the service is amazing. The company's great. Cool. I love what they're doing.
I think the name's fine.
Do you?
Pretty soon you'll come around.
You got the palate of the
He's a millennial, though. He doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know anything. All right,
He's in the zone.
That's true.
Yeah, you're in the zone. All right, this one's addressed to me. I'll do it. Luke, do you find Bellator's continued business in Israel, and I'll get to this in a second, and they're having fighters meet Israeli leadership problematic given Israel's apartheid policies in the West Bank and Gaza? I tweeted about this. Bellator didn't like it too much, which is fine. They don't have to. I'm not here to have a debate about Israel. That's not why I included this, because I'm not really equipped to have one, nor do I think it's really going to be a fun use of our time. But it does raise an interesting question, namely, you had WWE go to Saudi Arabia, and this was, to me, a morally grotesque event of the highest order, right? And people are like, well, every country has blood on their hands, right? But the U.S. government doesn't pay UFC to put on shows. This was straight from the top to get WWE over there. Now, whether it's about Israel, and there's a debate to be had about it, or any other country, consider China and its communist policies and their oppression of the Uyghur people. Consider what Saudi Arabia did. Consider this. In the age of streaming and the age of having a mobile, globalized product, you're going to be going to some territories that are either, whether name the country, it's going to rub some people the wrong way. So here's a question for the panel. When should a promotion go into a country or not go into a country? What is the rule there? I'm not talking about security or safety. I'm talking about their human rights record. It's a tough one, right?
Tough, yeah.
That's why I don't get paid that kind of money,
What do you think?
My answer is this.
You thought this was all Brock Lesnar tattoo questions. It is not.
Is this a backhanded thing toward Canada again? No, I'm sorry.
No. Canada's great.
No. I don't know,
What do
man.
you think?
I mean, I truly don't know.
Listen, I got into sports to ignore shit like this.
but you can't.
I know.
But you can't.
Obviously not. I don't think there's one easy answer. It's not like a one size fits all. I think you have to look at every situation. Who are a lot of times when they go into these markets, they have to deal with certain promoters. They have to deal with the people within the government. Who are you supporting here? Like, is there some element of where you're working with the government where it becomes, like you said, like morally grotesque? Because obviously they're perpetrating these abuses on their own people in some cases. I think that's it's the same thing we see. The Olympics. I mean, this happens almost every year. I think the next one is it Qatar. The next
that's the World Cup.
World Cup.
And that's when slave labor has built those stadiums.
That is just horrible to see and read about. And we're all going. All the countries are going. No one is moving on and saying we refuse to go as some sort of show of morality. And so I think it's just an example. At the end of the day, business makes the decision ultimately. Yeah. I would like to see cases where people take some sort of moral stance on stuff like this, but as we see with the government in this day and age, that's sort of too much to ask for.
Well, I know from the WWE standpoint that there were people behind the scenes who were wanting to do just that. They wanted to take a stand.
And there were a few, I think John Cena didn't go.
There were some who didn't go.
The ones who had the leverage to do it.
And it's kind of funny, though, how it does play in. It really does affect things because that money that they got over there, and I don't know what the exact number is, but the number that they picked up by doing that show affects Brock Lesnar, who was filling in for the Roman Reigns thing. I know that this is in that realm, but the Brock Lesnar thing, him coming back to the UFC, could be affected literally because of that one show, which is a weird connection to that whole thing.
My rule on this one is I've been trying to think about what's the answer here, because even if you think China is a communist country, do we care? Should we not do business there? I don't know what the right answer is, except on this one accord, which is, I think generally I don't have a problem with any promotion going anywhere, so long as if there are questions about the government, you're not working in concert with them. In other words, imagine somehow the UFC was able to do a show in North Korea or something, but it wasn't, yes, the government would have to allow it, but they weren't doing it to whitewash the government's horrible human rights abuses. Would that be okay? Yes, it would. I would be very much because in part of it, you do want to share your product and your vision and your entertainment with the world. But when they begin to align with the powers, that's when I begin to get a little red flaggish, personally.
That's what makes the whole Verdum and all the guys, the
Kadyrov stuff.
Yes, 100%. That's what makes that feel so
Yeah. Would you go to Chechnya? It's I mean, they went to Russia, but okay, I don't have any problem with that. But then the question of why was Kadyrov there? Did he just pay for his way? And I mean, is there any way to stop him? Maybe there's not. I don't know what the answer is. We always want to avoid these questions, but it's dude, when I got into MMA, if you ever would have asked me, are fighters going to be hanging out with thug dictators? I'd have been no. And yes, they are. What are you going to do?
I actually had the prop bet that they would, so
did you?
Paid off nice.
Is this your 2-week notice right here? All right, next. What would everyone's rapper name be? This one's for you, Chuck. This one I saw, I was wow, this is a terrible question. Chuck's going to love it.
When you say rap, no, I'm just kidding.
What kind of rap?
The Myth. Come on.
The Myth, the man in the hat.
Yeah, Myth, that's easy.
Why don't you like my designation for you, which is Iceman?
Iceman? I don't know. Somebody already has that, don't they?
The Myth is good.
Iceman would be cool.
The Myth, yeah.
Myth's a good rap name.
Myth, yeah.
Something, I don't know, maybe something like that.
Rappers always have really stupid acronyms.
Yeah.
Like Scum
Well,
Gang.
see, I fit right in then.
Yeah, exactly. What, do you got a rapper name for us?
Well, if he's gonna be the myth, I'm gonna be the legend. Man, myth, legend. I don't know. Like my initials are MC, so I'm kind of halfway there.
Ooh.
But I don't know what the last part would be.
MC, you can just hold it there. DMC.
I would probably crowdsource it. You know.
How about old MC? Instead of doing MC, you're like,
I'm glad everyone on this panel is a nerd. It makes this conversation especially horrible.
So the rapper name would be tough. I'm guessing it would have something with Lil in it, but in high school I used to play a lot of like music at parties and whatnot.
You played music?
Yeah, I played music.
Like instruments?
Well, no, not like that. Just
like
out of my
CDs.
phone and stuff.
Oh,
Like, you know, nothing too fancy. My friends kidding around.
You didn't play music. You played.
No, I literally
hit the play
played
button.
Exactly. That's called playing music.
No, playing music.
He's
playing
MCI
music.
I'm not playing an
MC
instrument.
iPhone over
But
here.
like I would.
you always want to give
Okay,
him
so
so
what?
much credit.
So what would you call it? I'm literally playing
okay.
music.
You DJ.
Playing. Yo, can you play music?
No, you were using an app.
Exactly. Yo, where's the aux? That's,
You had the best playlist.
That's the question. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right.
Best mix. So they were kidding around, just call me DJ D-Seg.
D-Seg.
Danny Segura. So maybe I'd just be D-Seg. I
like it.
D-Seg.
I will never call you D-Seg ever. Just so you know.
As they say, The Zone with DJ D-Seg.
DJ
Oh man, that sounds something.
You could do that.
DJ Chiquitico.
money in that.
How about that one? What would I do? Well, I would have gone with Big L. You know what? I can go with Big L now that he's dead. I can just be the new Big
Yeah, you could do that.
the new Big L. I did like Big L. I have an artwork of Big L at my house.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't?
That's all
Big
that.
L.
Really? No, Big L is old like us.
Old school.
You don't. He's a New York rapper too. You don't know who Big L is?
Nope.
Wow.
What does he sing?
What does he sing?
What's his biggest?
I don't know, Dad. What does he sing?
What's his biggest like record that I don't know?
Oof. He's got. You know what? He has a really famous freestyle that he did. That is that always makes the rounds. Just Google Big L freestyle. But he's got a bunch of ones. God, I'm drawing a blank. Put me on the spot.
Big L fan over here.
No, I know. I'm drawing a blank. All right, let's go to the next one. It's crazy. With the financial stability of the ESPN deal and larger pay-per-view cut coming in 2019, will we finally see some long-term decision-making by the UFC, or should we expect more of the short-term, one card at a time, step over a dollar, grab a quarter crap? Now, this is a bit of a, really negative question. I'll say this. I don't know if you guys saw, this could have been under the radar, but I saved it for this one. The UFC apparently has renegotiated with their pay-per-view distributors to get a bigger cut of each buy. They were getting 50-50. I think now they're getting something like, I think they added
70-30.
So yeah, something along those lines.
pretty significant.
It's a pretty big jump.
I think they were. I don't think it was quite 50-50. I think they were closer to 60-40, even.
Okay,
up to
so let's say 55-45,
They
whatever
still-
it was.
yeah.
It's now a jump, so they're not going to have to sell as many to make what they were making before, potentially even more. But who at the table wants to take that one? Do you think that the?
I would not expect any changes. I think UFC generally does. When they try to plan out their schedule, I do think that they try to make a concerted effort to put good quality cards forward in any instance they can. I don't think they have like bad faith in doing that. But I think what happens is life happens. Guys get hurt. Guys, can't make dates for whatever reasons. You have people trying to negotiate new contracts, saying no to fights for whatever reasons. And so a lot of times you come to a point where you have to make changes in. But the main thing is like pay-per-view is always going to come first. It's always going to come first until we move away from this outdated concept of pay-per-view. The pay-per-view master has to be served. So you're always going to start with those, and then obviously during the course of the year, there's certain pay-per-views that they look at as the biggest ones. The 4th of July one, a lot of times the end of the year one, and so on, Memorial Day. So those are sort of like the tentpole events, to use Bellator nomenclature, and. So you're always going to build around those. So I think they like the idea of having these huge major events because those are the ones that they're going to generate their biggest dollars. It makes sense business-wise to do that, but it is sort of robbing.
It's funny that we don't talk about pay-per-views with the kind of reluctance. You know what I mean? Because a pay-per-view, why would anybody want there to be a pay-per-view? You'd rather it just be on ESPN or be somewhere free, right? Like you don't want it to be a pay-per-view, but they have, because they started off as a pay-per-view company, we just expect big events. Pay-per-view. It's still to this day. It's just we're just used to paying for the bigger product. But I think that day, we've talked about this before. You wonder how long that can continue. I really do wonder. I mean, the numbers have been going down considerably over time. The big pay-per-views are still big. I think they could still do something with the pay-per-view for years, but I think it's going to be narrowed down at some point to a quarterly event or something like that, where there's one big pay-per-view per quarter. That's the way I mean, because I don't see how you can do. They usually do like 13, 12 to 13, and I don't see how that's sustainable over the long haul.
I think you know, with all this era of the money fights and champs, and you know all this, I think that's going to continue. It's not going to slow down. I would say though, for at least the very beginning portion of the ESPN deal, the UFC always likes to start off these new deals with a pop. So I do think we're going to get some pretty full cards.
Hope so.
You know, especially the very beginning ones. And I hope that money that they're making more, you know, trickles down and we get some some quality cards in.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with the premise of the question. I think it's an important one to ask so that we can make sense of what they're trying to get at. I generally find that the UFC does have long-term thinking. The question is, are they making the right long-term calls? Not are they even thinking about it. Of course they're thinking about it. To me, it looks like they're going to drive pay-per-view into the ground. Like that's the whole. Like they're basically saying to themselves, "We are going to ride into this vehicle till the wheels fall off, and then ride it a little further, and then by that point transition over." They've got a lot of guaranteed income now with all of their television deals globally, with this ESPN deal, and now they're going to get a bigger share of pay-per-view. But I just don't see in a world where DAZN's whole pitch, and not just them, many others, is like we're trying to get rid of pay-per-view. We want it done with. I don't know how you survive that 3-4 years down the line. You know, TV.
It's already generationally switching. You know,
TV is changing so fast.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll have to see. All right, next. Let's see. Last time Cerrone fought at lightweight was in 2015. Will he be able to handle it safely now? And is there a decent chance that his performance will diminish from what we've seen at welterweight? Despite his wins at lightweight, he was twice to face Khabib, and his win over Benson was questionable. What do you guys think?
He was twice to face Khabib?
I'm not sure what that part is about. But, I mean, he's handled his weight cuts pretty well, even in weird situations. He seems like he's pretty diligent when it comes to that. I don't think he ballooned up that big, did he?
No,
I mean, it
I
doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like he added big muscle mass, you know, and stuff like that to become a welterweight. So I think he's still hovering. I really don't think it'd be that a problem for him.
Also, Don Cerrone is nearing 40, right? How old is he? 38?
I'm not sure.
I think he's 37.
37.
Or 30,
So
36.
So it's not like the transition came when he was like 24, 25, and then all of a sudden he's a much older man and grew into his body. He already made the transition to welterweight when he was a full-grown adult. So I don't expect him. I think maybe there will be some. I don't think it'll be anything noticeable, the cut, and I don't think he doesn't have a history of missing weight. No. I think maybe the cut will affect him on how he feels personally, but as far as his performance, I expect it to be the same vintage Cowboy.
One thing we know about Cowboy, when he says he's going to fight, he shows up.
He shows up.
He shows up on weight.
He's professional when it comes to that. I really don't have.
He just switches his Budweiser to Bud Light for a while, and he's okay.
You're good.
I don't know how he drinks that stuff. All right, next.
They pay him.
With all of this gas station hot dog talk, what is your shouts to Brian Campbell?
Yeah, I was going to say.
What is your top fast food weakness?
Oh, man.
Chuck, you go first.
Jeez. Fast food?
I don't ever, the older I get, the less, I don't crave fast food.
Not really.
But there's one exception I have. What's one?
I like Mexican food, so it'd be like Del Taco or Taco Bell or something like that.
What's better, Del Taco or Taco Bell?
I mean, Taco Bell goes back further. Like, Del Taco was more of the West Coast for me when I was out there, so I guess Taco Bell would be the one.
That's a hard one. I mean, there's a place in my town called Super Duper Weenie, hot dog place. But they're like gourmet style. I mean, it is a fast food place, but it's like gourmet style hot dogs, and their fries also are.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's the one you crave?
I mean, I don't have it that often, but.
See, I thought we were talking about chains. Because I know a place that can get fast food.
Yeah, give me a chain.
Yeah, chain.
Oh, God. Well, there's a fast food chain called Duchess.
Oh, yeah.
Duchess has the.
No, what is Duchess?
It's a fast food place. It's hamburgers.
It's like thank you for that tautology. What do they serve?
Mostly burgers and fries.
Yeah, it's like a Hardee's. They have variations, though. You can get
but it's made. They don't freeze anything. Everything's fresh. So
fresh.
I mean, for fast food.
Yeah.
Fast food fresh.
You're eating 3 different cows all grounded into one.
We're talking about fast food, Luke. Yeah. We're talking about fast food.
I'm just saying. You got a fast food craving?
I have no shame, so I'll just say
Go ahead and say it.
Once in a while, I crave McDonald's.
I never crave McDonald's. What is it about McDonald's you crave?
Once in a while.
What do you get when you order?
He wants a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I just want the toy. So
Hi, my name's Danny. They call me D-Seg. I play music. Can I have a Happy Meal?
That's exactly what happens.
What do you order?
You know
What do you order?
I switch it up. They've come out with new things, so I'm also down to try some new things. But it's usually kind of basic. Like I'll go like a double cheeseburger with bacon and maybe some fries, a Coke. McFlurry's always bomb.
I've never had a McFlurry.
What?
Never.
I haven't
Get
done
out.
either.
I've had a Dairy Queen Blizzard. They're the same, right?
McFlurry's the shit. It's really good.
It's not better than a Blizzard. Get out of here. Those are
I've been to
fighting
Dairy
words.
Queen, I think, like twice in my life, maybe.
It's an American. It's super, super duper Southern American. Yeah.
But yeah, McDonald's, it's a spot every now and then.
All right. My weakness is, I don't even hide from this. I don't crave Wendy's. I don't crave Burger King. I never crave McDonald's. What would you call Five Guys? Is Five Guys fast food?
Yeah.
You have to sit down and wait a little bit for it, but it's amazing,
Five Guys
and
is
if I'll eat it, but it's not like I don't seek it out. I don't really seek out anything, especially I don't seek out Hardee's is where dreams go to just get farted out of a trucker. I mean, it's just the worst place on earth. Do you guys? I don't crave this either, but do you guys have Roy Rogers up here?
Yeah.
Their bit used to be buy burgers, and they would have a Fixins bar.
Yeah.
I don't crave that. I don't crave any of those things.
How many things else you don't want? Tell us what you do.
I don't crave Crystal or White Castle either.
What?
No.
I don't like White Castle.
Yeah, it's always
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A's fine, but no.
Chick-fil-A's good. I wish I had
Chipotle because you like to gamble with E. coli?
No, I do like to gamble with E. coli at Taco Bell. Taco Bell is just my undying weakness.
Especially after like 15 beers.
After 15 beers, and then
6
Taco
shots
Bell,
of
and then another 15 beers.
That's usually about when
I just find, that's just my go-to. My order, I don't know if I have a regular order, but my favorite item on the menu is the double-decker taco.
Yeah.
You guys ever get that?
Yeah.
That's it's a soft taco, and then it's a hard taco. Then they take a soft taco shell and they put beans in it, and then they collapse the soft shell on top of the hard. It's all these like turducken fast food
They have a lot of
Frankenstein
variations
monsters.
like that nowadays.
Do they still have the chalupa? Does that still exist?
I've never had that. I stick to just what I like. I don't ever order around. The volcano taco was nice for a time.
Was that the Doritos one?
Yeah, well, it was hot too. It was like a big giant Dorito you were eating.
Hungry.
That's the only, I know, after this whole conversation, that's the only weakness I have for fast food.
Yeah.
That's it. What is your order, your number one order?
I do like the double-decker tacos, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I like just the regular crunchy tacos, and I get really basic stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I can
don't
tell,
really
Mr.
try,
Vanilla.
Yeah, I don't really try, like, they always have, like, those, like you're saying, the variations of, where they've got, like, meat as the tortilla and things like that. I don't try any of that stuff. So usually just tacos, I'll get, like, the double-decker taco and usually some kind of, like, combo burrito or something like that.
Let me end the show here, if I can, real quickly, putting Jared Cannonier, who brought him up? Was it you? Let me put Jared Cannonier on blast. So I had, in a nice way, I had Jared on my radio show, and he was like, man, I got one goal in New York, one goal after winning. He goes, I want some real New York authentic pizza. How can I get some? And I said, stay on the line. So I got his number, and then after the weigh-ins, I texted him, and I was like, yo, here are all of the good pizza joints. And I listed them. I went, my buddy's been living in New York for 30 years.
Don't tell me he went to Sbarro.
Worse.
Oh, man, what?
So after he wins, I get him back on the thing, and I go, hey, how was your New York pizza experience? He's like, man, it wasn't that good. And I go, wait, how could it, what? Like, what do you mean was it good? I was like, where did you go? He went to Ray's. Do you guys know Ray's?
Yes.
It's the cheapest, shittiest pizza joint in New York. It is in Times Square.
That was our sponsorship.
I know.
In Times Square, Jared Cannonier went for a New York City experience. You might as well, what is the equivalent of this? I can't even imagine. It's like, I don't know, you wanted an authentic Mexican experience and you got a chalupa and you're like, wow, Mexican food's not that good. Yeah, no kidding. You didn't eat it. So, Jared, thanks a lot.
You blew that one. You blew that one.
Yeah, what a ridiculous man he is.